Banned.
It would be. Okay. Oh, I need to sleep, bro.
Me too. Wait, do you have the sleep tiredness simulation on?
I have to sleep both in game and in real life, but
It's the weekend.
yeah, it's the weekend.
Okay, you will goodies. I'll just get in here.
But I'm not on my way. I'm still setting up my stream, so
I'll just wait here for you.
okay.
I'm just up there. I don't need to give it there. You can get everything.
I
Flip.
I'm gonna do a stream delay. Hold on, where is it?
Done. Okay. So wait, let me just see. Where is that freaking jumping thing? Okay, that's the thing. Okay. Wanna see a cool thing? Steam now has clipping. So I can just stop when I want to get the recording and choose the recording for the last 10 minutes to save.
Okay, I have set up an emergency cutoff. So if somebody does something really bad on stream, then I can just cut it off. That's good.
Oh my. I stopped at the green by accident, thinking that I hit someone. Then I drove off in front of someone who was about to get in. Oh.
Hold on.
Wanna see this?
I'm sorry.
I told you, save it Steam. Oh no.
You're gonna have
Yes.
to wait a little bit because my air pressure is low.
Okay. Your air pressure is
Yes, my air pressure is low.
Your air pressure is not.
Can you hold on 1 second? Can you check my stream, see if all the audio is working good?
Save it Steam.
Where are
Oh
you
no.
streaming?
You're gonna
Yes,
have to wait a little. Oh, okay. Good. Yeah. No. It's good. But I'm just gonna send you the link.
Oh, you're streaming on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, how many subscribers do you have?
I have no idea. I forgot. Like
I know the chat need a minimum.
100
161.
something.
161.
169. Nice.
No, 161.
Oh man.
If someone is watching, they need to know that you need 169 followers.
Sure.
It is my voice being in the stream as well?
Yes.
Okay. To be honest, it would be great to have one thing for you. Beep button.
Beep button.
Yeah, so you can just press that and then it would just
I have
that noise that
I have a
usually
10-second stream delay. That's why, like, if somebody says anything, I'll just press the emergency stop. It's like an emergency stop button.
It would be nicer if you could just bleep it out.
But it would be nicer if it just wasn't in the stream at all. It would be safer. At least.
Want to know something funny?
No.
I'll just read you a thread of getting Linux working on a Kindle. Okay?
You know, I have
fun fact.
I have to read a script, so if you can, let's just be in Dill and let's do a little convo.
Okay, sure. Okay, let me just read it out. 5.18.x, the current state of unnamed jailbreak. What's going on? The exploit itself is functional under 5.18.x, at least the version we've tested, and the proper POC is being created, with the rest of the jailbreak to follow. Unlike previous exploits, except say for Kindle Drip, the exploit utilized by unnamed jailbreak is quite dangerous. As such, we will be reporting it to Amazon prior to release. This is the developer of the Kindle mod, of the Kindle jailbreak. Okay?
Why are you trying to jailbreak a fucking Kindle?
Because I want to run Linux Mint on it, of course.
What the hell? Okay, this is you're getting way too out of hand here. What the hell? I don't even have any words.
You can run X. It's already there's already an app to run XFS, no XFCE.
That is actually crazy, bro.
Why won't I run Minecraft on my Kindle?
Let's slow down.
You know, on that black and white screen. Oh. Or I don't know. Put Spotify on it. Or the best idea. Are you ready?
What?
Install Android on it.
Yeah, that's actually a better idea. What the hell, Linux, man? You're crazy.
Nah, I'm going to install CatchOS on it.
Casio, Wes, what are you trying to do? Run games on the fucking Kindle? That's crazy. Oh, hello.
Oh,
I'm right
I
here.
don't want in the great trap. See the one that looks like a mirror from Looney Tunes.
Here we go. Yes.
You skip. Oh, on my screen, I compared it to the stream and I thought you just skipped. Oh, you skipped it.
Yes, I skipped it.
Wait, want the high money cargo, my boy? I'll give you the gift. You ready?
What are you talking about, bro?
Did you miss that, bro?
Dude, what the hell? Also, why does his thing say only tags?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anyway, if I just drive like this, I'll just get the delivery and I'll just share it with you. Medical vaccines with everything on top.
Look this, look at this. look at my tag, look at my tag.
How much ping do you have? Wait, I want to know.
181.
161. Is it worth 181? Is it worse than Windows?
It's the same. Am I allowed to have this? Am I allowed to say keep fucking distant?
Maybe the language. Maybe just yeah. By the way, what do you think of the text above my head?
Lightspeed logistics? Hell yes.
Look at the icon after it.
Z.
Z-Z. What does it mean?
I was gonna ask you that question.
It's sleeping.
Oh yes. So you're driving while
Okay.
you're sleeping, of course.
Sure. Let's go to Turin in Italy.
Wait, you know what I'm gonna put? I'm gonna put AFK while I'm driving around.
AFK. don't get mad when I'm AFK.
I'm gonna say AFK. Oh, you know what I'm gonna say? AFK, and
I
then
have an idea.
auto
What do you
steer.
think of transporting 28 tons of peanut butter? Nah, I'm just joking. I know that will destroy your truck.
Look at what I said. Look at what I said. AFK, auto steering.
Someone sees that, will freak out. Okay, it's a normal emergency job. Now let's go and oh, there it is. Okay, I'll just go on only tanks. You know what would be funny?
What?
Have a platform only for ETS2 called Only Trucks.
Hell yes. Hell yes. I would 100% buy. Every single.
Oh my god. I just realized how sus it could sound.
Wait, hold on, hold on.
Imagine imagine if someone on that platform just makes something like only huge trailers. Hell no.
Huge trailers.
Hell, hell no. No. That would be that would be the family friendly side. Wink wink. Anyway, if this trailer fits in, I'll just drive off. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, Wolf Life H, come on. Yes. Thank. What do you think, Kevin? How perfect is that?
1 second. Let me see. I don't see you.
I'm behind the only tanks. Sure.
Stop honking!
I'm trying to turn off the engine.
Oh, we're both idiots.
Right.
Where are we hauling to? Justin? Justin? Hello? Hello? Guys, I think he's gone. Hello, Justin? Justin, are you there? Justin is not here. Did it crash or something? What's going on? Maybe. Can you even hear me? Oh god. He's gone, guys. Yeah, he's gone. And he's gone. Where are we even delivering to, bro?
I'm good.
Yo.
I'll just turn on my camera so you can see what just happened.
Okay, let me see what happened.
You ready? You ready?
1 sec.
Wait, it
Whoa.
was saying no output.
Whoa, wait, 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 wait. Let me see. Of course,
No,
the
it isn't
second.
anymore. Second,
Uh, of course, the second he uses Windows, he has problems. Of course.
that was a joke.
Of course. The second he uses his Windows, it has a problem. Of course, right? That's crazy.
Yeah,
No,
exactly when I use Windows, and I didn't have issues with Linux for the last 3 days. But oh well.
didn't have issues. Didn't you like 2 hours ago was having trouble with Truckers MP?
Yeah, I had troubles with TruckersMP, but it didn't crash like that. And want to know something even funnier?
What?
That was with the proprietary codec LDAC via Bluetooth headphones that was working at 1 megabit per second via Bluetooth. That was more stable. Holy, but that was a joke. Like, the entire thing just crashed. Dude, my search is dead. I wish. Okay.
Your what?
My search is dead.
Good job.
Wait, look at my screen. My star.
Good job.
I can search.
Well, I guess you're gonna have to. I don't know. Power. What are you doing? What? Why are you installing? Oh, you're gonna do the spotlight search,
Yeah, the power toys run.
dude. Are you serious? Just go to your Explorer or something. And why not use
I'm not using.
WinGet? Bro, there's a package manager called WinGet. Why are you doing that from there? Dude,
It's GitHub. It's from Microsoft.
just use the package manager. Oh my god. Bro,
Nah, this is good enough.
bro, come on, man. Windows has Linux like features and you're coming from Linux, so at least use those. It's
Dude,
so
after installing Linux for the total of 50 times, I calculated it this time.
Oh my
I don't
god.
want to hear it.
He's so sick and tired. He's not even gonna use a fucking package manager, bro.
Nah, this is how I learned to Windows. That's it.
The traditional way.
By the way, what do you think of the kitty? Okay, give me a friendly one.
Wow. I mean, at this point, I would just use Windows because it's so customized.
I used Chris Data's toolkit to freaking optimize this.
Bro, use Hyperland. You're gonna love it.
Nah, I tried Hyperland. My experience was kernel panic at boot.
Are you serious? Is that actually what happened?
Yup. No joke, it was kernel panic at boot.
The hell?
Best experience, right? Best in house.
Mm-hmm. Yup.
You know what's next? If that was one
Dude,
thing,
press Alt space. Alt space.
it's also.
And look up TruckersMP. Alt space.
Oh,
TruckersMP.
wait, let me just remap it. Much better.
Alright, there we go. Now he's
Honestly,
finally got it
honestly,
fixed.
honestly, last time this broke, that's what I did.
Cause it always freaking breaks.
Yeah, my dad also says that. He works with Windows Server.
Why am I in neutral?
What taskbar? The taskbar is stuck. Bro, bro, bro. Windows.
He's having trouble with Windows.
Much better. I just killed Explorer.exe. So you
Yeah,
know.
good job, good job. Yeah, you don't need that for gaming. It just takes up your resources. There we go. Hello, hello. There he is. Just Totoro. Just Totoro. So, where do you want to go, Totoro?
Yeah. It worked. You know what? It worked. I might have overcomplicated things, but it works.
Where do you want to go?
I have a delivery already. You may just copy the job.
Okay. I swear to God, if it's some crowded city, Turin. That's really far, but sure. Let's do it.
Give me a sec. I need to close the door.
I think medical vaccines would be better. so I'm gonna take that. I should get the Lightspeed Logistics paint job.
Move your body and dance until you hit the floor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Later I'm gonna play some copyright-free music because I cannot. I actually have
I
some
just
a pretty good copyright-free library, but I think we might have to need to move to another channel. But let's do it while we're there, while we're on the way.
what do you mean moving on another channel?
Cause I mean, we're gonna use a music block. How else?
Wait, look how we positioned the trailers.
X.
Wait, if I move forward, can I make a Y?
Dude. Why?
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 All right. Who will start, bro? Come on. Me? Let's do.
Let's start.
You? Me? You? Okay, you. Okay. I will just follow you.
I'm just a genius at driving.
Yes, you are.
I hope I hope I don't regret saying that and question for 3 minutes later. Oh wait, I forgot you have the weak drop because you have me safe. Did I accelerate too hard? No?
You're driving just fine, buddy. My
Ignore that.
FPS is terrible, but you're driving just fine.
I told you that when I got wine working, ETSD running under wine, the FPS was terrible, and the ping too.
Dude, it's running under Proton.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You managed to get it under Proton.
Yeah.
You had the Steam launcher?
Yeah, it just automatically runs via Proton.
Okay. Ericsson 360 is online.
I mean, at least I have 30 FPS. Like, that's all I'm asking, you know?
Me running at how much FPS is this? 70 FPS on RTX 3050 mobile.
Dude, I'm running at 3070. What the hell?
You have a 3070 mobile. But wanna know something funny? You have much powerful GPU, but my CPU is more powerful. I think. I'm not sure, but I think. I know your CPU is an AMD Ryzen 7 5800H, right?
God, how do you remember the model name and stuff? I don't even remember that myself.
I looked at your Neofit. I remember model names.
What
Mine
the
is
hell? And
mine
you're
is
not
an
even me.
And mine is an Intel i7. What the hell is this?
They're all
Oh,
transporting
okay.
the same thing. I think they're all like parking. One of them
Convoy.
wanted to go to the toilet or something.
And then I have an Intel i7 11800H.
Are we turning right? Okay.
Which is slightly overclocked.
Slightly overclocked. Why would you even bother with overclocking a fucking laptop?
It's by default.
Oh, I see.
It sounds like a spaceship. And the temps are 99 degrees, but it works better.
I mean, yeah.
Wait. I think I turned on the overclocking thing. No.
Oh god, oh god. Windows problems. Oh, slow down there, buddy.
Kenya, buddy. Wait, can we stop here a little so I can sleep?
Oh, sure.
Amazing driver. Nothing happened.
Yes, amazing.
Everyone was blind. Okay.
Can I park to the right here? Let's see. Nope, I cannot. Okay. Well, I don't need to
Just
sleep anyway,
close the
so
pop-up so
that's
quick.
fine. But I do need to change some things.
You can change some things. I'm just wanted to turn on the overclocking thing so I can use all performance on my laptop gives. There. Want to see the temps? Kevin?
Sure, I guess.
My CPU is at 87 degrees and my GPU is at 70 degrees.
That's good.
Just wait, I betcha that in 30 minutes it will be up to 99.
Yeah, that's normal for me. Like, Alienware just doesn't limit their CPU, so they always go to
Dude,
80.
look
like
at my
100.
screen and you'll see some familiar software.
What? Wait, are you using an Alienware?
My Dell G15
Oh,
has
Dell.
some Alienware mixed.
Well, yeah, of course, because it's Alienware is Dell, but like Dell G15 doesn't have the same philosophy as Alienware. Because the fact is, like,
Dude, wanna know something even funnier?
what?
The Alienware logo is printed on the motherboard.
Well, yeah, wait, okay, that makes me confused then. Because why wouldn't they just do the same thing for Alienware?
It's from what I know, it's basically an Alienware with the Dell logo slapped on it.
Yeah, alright. Should we continue driving?
Yep.
Alright.
And the spaceship mode has been activated.
Yes, same. I have it on all the time, to be honest. It helps me get better temperatures.
Yeah, 99 degrees in the background.
Yeah, I mean it's always above 90 degrees, but like it's always been like that, and I just haven't really bothered. Slow down!
I'm slow. I'm going 60.
Nah, buddy, nah. I saw your screen, man. You were going like 80, 70 something.
Dude, your truck is slow. That's not difficulty.
Okay, yes, it's slow, bro. Shut up. It's a new save file. I just started the game. I can't afford the best truck.
You can't afford the Volvo. Wait, no, you're too fast.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
You're slow. Go forward.
Oh god. Dude.
forward.
I swear to God, I thought I was gonna hit you, bro.
Go forward. Oh, go back. And if we finish this and we do one more, I'll just say one thing.
Hey, guess what?
I'm getting a Renault T.
Hey,
like
guess
you.
what?
World's greatest driver. I didn't hit you. Nice trailer, by the way.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Nah, I actually don't like this trailer. Like, I'm gonna remove it next time I drive.
Okay.
Hey, dude, guess what? I'm just kidding.
Brake check.
I'm just kidding.
Wait, I may pass you.
Hey, dude, guess what? No, you're not messing on my right. Oh god, did you crash? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Did you crash? I'm so sorry.
Flash fixed.
We should stop fooling around, bro. I have a script. I have a script to read.
Oh yeah, you have the Linux experience to read. May
Yes.
I join you and edit the script as well?
Yeah,
Live?
you can have a couple of takes in there, like maybe
Okay.
say some stuff about it,
Okay.
but
I'll say after some takes off script.
yeah,
I have no script, I'll just say it out of my head.
yeah.
Even though last time I said my opinion, my post got removed on r/Linux. because
But
people reported it.
I'd ask you to not any like interrupt if I'm in the middle of saying a paragraph or something. Just that. I ask you just that. So,
It starts.
all right, here we go. All right, so I wanted to share my experience diving into the world of Linux. It wasn't because Windows was broken for me or anything. Honestly, most of the time it was just, you know, at least it works. At least Windows works, right? But I was getting seriously tired of the bloat and this feeling that every 6 months to a year, I'd be stuck reinstalling Windows. And I never really knew the exact reason why, but things would just get sluggish. A little annoying every 6 months or so. And I'm the kind of person who just wants things to be set and forget. So, after the third or fourth Windows reinstall, I was done. I have a background in system administration, so I'm pretty familiar with Ubuntu and other Debian based Linux distros. And I figured it was time to see what Linux felt like on my main machine. So, I did just that. And this is where a lot of people get stuck. Choosing a distro. Look, I get it. There are tons of options, and it can be overwhelming. But my advice, pick something you like. But make absolutely sure it's a good fit for you. Because if you're new to Linux, don't go for something supposedly hardcore, you know. Here's the thing I've noticed coming from Windows. When a seasoned Linux user says a distro is easy, that might mean it's still pretty hard. And when they say something is hard, trust me, it's gonna be really hard. Do you have a take?
I'll just say one take. Sometimes your distro choice might be limited by hardware. Like for example, my Dell Latitude 7480. That computer has graphics issue with most distros. That's the distro I talked to you about earlier that had the Hyperland issue, where I tried to run Hyperland under Arch with the pre-installed config script. And let's say that the kernel panicked immediately. That happened with Linux Mint as well. That happened with Pop! OS as well. All Linux distros did that. The only distro that didn't do that was Ubuntu 25.04. And so you get this clear. Not even Ubuntu 24.04 LTS worked. Only that specific version worked.
Yeah, so like,
So
what? Wait, did you get Hyperland installed on Ubuntu?
now I got Hyperland installed on Arch,
No, yeah.
but my laptop wasn't having it, and it just crashed. I also want to say that, to be honest, my experience was similar. But I will just say that I had issues with Windows. Since I got this gaming laptop, I reinstalled Windows 15 times from the beginning, and had 15 installs of Linux, in which I tried to switch, but have a lot of issues, like graphics issues. I had issues with why not working, weird distro-specific issues. I had issues with the desktop manager. I had issues with apps. It was hard. There were lots of issues, even with Ubuntu or Pop! OS, friendly options. So, in the end, I mostly gave up until a few days ago. I saw that Kevin was giving this another try, and thought, well, let me try Linux Mint again. Maybe they fixed something. I tried on my Latitude again, the Dell Latitude 7480, but that computer just outright crashed. Like, didn't work at all. Then I managed to fix it by entering in recovery and updating some drivers and CUDA related desktop things. But after a while, it died. It started having issues again, and it was a great experience. To be honest, that didn't give me high hopes for this laptop, my gaming laptop, and I was not sure if my games will run. But I thought, let's give it a try, because usually the community does progress. So I reinstalled Linux and I used the NVIDIA 5070 Open driver, which is new. And I also used the version 10 of Wine, which was recently released. And since I got Linux, this was the easiest install and the easiest running thing ever. Games that usually took hours of troubleshooting and in the past were labeled AMD only were running, like Forza Horizon 5. Proton was working better than ever, and Lutrist was becoming even more useful. The changes that have been made lately really made it really easy to get into Linux. And to be honest, like this, I think the year of the Linux desktop is quite close. And I think that Kevin jumped in Linux at the perfect time, when all of this was introduced, and it just made everything much easier and much better for new users. You may continue.
So, is that it? Anything else?
I finished. I don't have anything else to say. I'm just really happy that the community did a lot of progress,
Yeah.
and now apps are strong, unlike before.
Definitely, definitely. I do notice, like, I don't know if I'd say I jump in at the perfect time, because there's still a bunch of things that needs polishing, but from my experience, it really is sort of very similar to, at least in the gaming side, it's very similar to how Windows works. So I'd say, yeah, it's pretty good. But the other big thing is, don't expect everything on your computer to work perfectly right out of the box. Unless you have a very standard or maybe a really old computer. Funny enough, Windows struggles on older hardware, but Linux, man, it runs smooth as butter on older machines. So, I chose Linux Mint as my first distro. I know, I know. Maybe it seemed like FOMO because PewDiePie installed it, but honestly, it seemed like the most beginner-friendly option to me. I had tried Zorin OS on an old Surface Pro before, but I don't know. Cinnamon just felt right, especially on the Surface. Well, no, sorry, especially on my computer. So, Mint it was. At first, I was a bit lost. Even with some OS installation experience, I backed up all my files and with about a terabyte of data, which took forever by the way. Then I repartitioned my drive, planning to dual boot, which, spoiler alert, if you can go full Linux, do it. Oh god, where am I supposed to go?
It's fine, it's fine.
Spoiler alert, if you can go full Linux, do it. Dual booting kind of sucks, but I had my reasons, which I'll get to later. When I first picked Linux Mint as my main distro, it worked for about a day, but afterwards I had some weird driver issues. I don't know what it was at the time, but X11 just doesn't work well with fractional scaling. If you go into the display manager and enable fractional scaling, set your display scaling to 150%, say. Don't expect it to work at all. Or don't expect it to work immediately. Because as of now, fractional scaling just really doesn't really work on Linux. So at the time, I thought it was just a Linux Mint issue. I reinstalled and tried Pop! OS. Now, Pop! OS was my original choice before I went with Linux Mint. Maybe that would have been better though. But I tried installing Pop! OS and it just didn't work. To this day, I don't know why, it just gave me a hardware error, wiped everything on the partition, but wouldn't actually install. I was confused because it would boot into the grub boot manager, but not into the OS. I originally thought the installer would undo everything, but I realized it had completely wiped the partition. So, knowing that, I went with CachyOS. At first, I installed CachyOS perfectly. All my drivers were there, everything seemed smooth. Until. Oh shoot! I
You're
really,
second close call, dude. You should really.
I really should focus, God.
To be honest, I would also at the point if so that happened. My experience was smooth and not smooth. Like Pop! OS as a dual boot operating system is a nightmare because natively the OS doesn't support it. You need to add it and configure it yourself. Since I don't know what the team thought, but it just doesn't. So you need to stay and configure grub for the beginning to add Windows and other stuff. If you want to go full Linux, then Pop! OS is a good idea. If you plan to dual boot, it's not a great idea at all. It's just chaos. Then I'll add, let's say, Ubuntu. For me, Ubuntu is a pretty good experience. It's not a bad OS, it's not a great OS. It's mid. It has all you need, it works well. It's annoying to get wine sometimes, but it's running mostly smooth in most case scenarios. And on most hardware to run best. I tried Arch in the past, but the hardware that I tested Arch on didn't give me the best experience, and that was mostly my fault. I tried using Linux Mint multiple times, and it's good OS for beginners. Zorin OS is a great OS as well. I used Fedora, and I didn't like the fact that it was using the Pacman manager for apps. It didn't have apt, it didn't have stuff that you would expect from a Debian install. OpenSUSE, I tried it once and then gave up on it. Like, it didn't even take me long, I think. I dual booted it, played around with it for like 30 minutes and then just deleted it entirely off my drive. And then it was just a hopping game between Ubuntu and Windows for a while. And Linux Mint was rarely put on. But in the end, I was always getting back to Windows because the NVIDIA drivers for my GPU were mostly bad. Like, okay. The drivers were badly mostly. I had issues since 2023 getting the OS running. Even with the laptop being considered Ubuntu certified. Canonical certified. Certified by the Ubuntu creators that it would run Ubuntu great. That certification was like a piece of paper because in the end it didn't do anything. Yeah. It just said, oh, you should have a great experience on this hardware, it should work great. But it just didn't until lately, since the NVIDIA driver got the open kernel 570. The issues were just horrible. And Intel-based systems usually do better, even older ones. But some generations of Intel GPUs are just cursed, like the Intel 7th generation. If you have an Intel 7th generation GPU with DR GPU integrated, I would recommend avoiding Linux for a while. since the drivers are really not good, like unusable level of not good. If you try to put the OS, the game is just not going to run entirely. I will say from my experience that I tried it, it just didn't boot the entire time. When 25.04 launched, I tried that and it worked, but it was really a headache just to get there. I still don't know why the issue is happening. I searched it up online and I discovered that the Intel HD graphics 620, the generation of Intel graphics that's with the 7th generation CPUs, is usually faulty and doesn't work well, or the driver isn't good. That's just what I'll say. You need to do your research as well.
Yeah, Nvidia lately has been getting better, but it's still not as great as Windows, I'd say. But it is getting better.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think,
features are missing still.
but I think mostly, I guess the problem is just X11 itself, or maybe even Wayland. Because honestly, like, the drivers themselves are fine. They're pretty good still. But yeah, as I said, I installed CashOS, right? And everything worked perfectly. All my drivers were automatically installed, Cinnamon worked. Until I went out with my friends, because I wanted to show off my Arch setup. Pretty embarrassing in hindsight, because when I got there, the screen was just black. Oh, imagine this. You're at the cafe, you booted up your brand new CashOS install just to show off with your friends, went through Grub, and landed on a completely blank terminal login. No desktop environment, nothing. I was absolutely dumbfounded. I mean, my friend was trying not to laugh, and I don't even blame him. There I was at the cafe, Googling the problem on my phone, right? Oh, I don't know, maybe the display manager isn't booting. Maybe I have to start the driver somehow, and the timing couldn't have been worse. The cafe's Wi Fi was incredibly slow, and I had to download a driver update with Pac Man. It wasn't huge, maybe 200 megabytes, but it took almost damn near 30 minutes just to download that. And guess what? After all that, I rebooted and I was back at the terminal. What the heck was the problem? For the next 30 minutes, I looked up everything on my phone. We were at the cafe for about 2 hours. 2 hours. So we ended up just leaving. I never fixed the problem. When I got home, I said, forget this, and went back to Linux Mint. And I've been there ever since. The drivers work fine. The only issue is fractional scaling, but I don't know if that's ever gonna be fixed. It seems like it's been broken forever. And I'm not holding my breath. So, yeah, that's my Linux experience so far. Now, about dual booting. I know I said it kind of sucks, and honestly, it is a bit complicated to set up at first. But if you really have to dual boot, I'm sure you can figure it out. It's not impossible, but if you don't need to, I strongly suggest you avoid it. Here's why I went down the dual boot road in the first place. Initially, my transition from Windows to Linux was surprisingly smooth. That's because I had already switched all my essential tools and everything, software, to open source alternatives, or at least tools that I knew worked well on Linux. And this is a crucial point, by the way. For anyone considering the switch, before you fully commit to Linux, Get comfortable with open source tools or Linux compatible software on your Windows machine first. Try them out, get used to them, because most of the time, the real challenge isn't the Linux OS itself, it's whether the software you rely on is compatible. For me, almost everything I used on Windows worked perfectly on Linux. So the actual OS switch didn't really impact my workflow at all. But there was one major roadblock, one piece of software that I am sure many of you have struggled with: Adobe. Yes, that Adobe. The company we all love to hate, Adobe. For some inexplicable reason, whether it's cancellation fees, whether it's kernel software, I don't know what's wrong with them, but Adobe doesn't want their software to run natively on Linux. It works great on macOS, which is a Unix-based operating system. No problem at all. Matter of fact, it works even better than anything else. But on Linux? Oh, forget about it, says Adobe. And honestly, it's incredibly frustrating. Because Adobe, for whatever reason, whether you try to use something like Wine or force Windows apps to work, it just doesn't. And don't even bother trying. I haven't and I won't. So I was faced with two options at that point. First, the option I initially wanted to pursue, setting up a GPU pass-through to a KVM. That's kernel virtual machine. Basically, running a virtual machine. Basically, it's like running a Windows machine inside my Linux system that I could directly use my dedicated graphics card. I started down that path, but then I realized enabling GPU pass-through requires a computer reboot. And that's where the problem lies for me. Sometimes my system defaults to the integrated GPU, and I also have a dedicated one. If I use the integrated GPU, I'd have to completely redo all my display scaling settings because for some weird reason my second monitor wouldn't work correctly and the scaling would be all messed up. So that was GPU pass-through, and let me tell you, it's hella hard to set up. It wasn't necessarily the most technically difficult thing, but it felt incredibly risky. I constantly worried it would break my entire Linux installation. So, when I realized that rebooting meant dealing with the integrated GPU and having to reset all my display settings, I kind of gave up on the GPU pass-through. Because if I was going to reboot anyway, why would I go through all that trouble when I could just dual boot into Windows? So that's why I ended up dual booting. If you're not like me and don't depend on Adobe for your work, just go full Linux. If you occasionally need some light photo editing, GIMP is perfectly fine. But I get it. If you're coming from Adobe, changing your entire workflow can be a massive hurdle. And honestly, for me, there is no real replacement for Premiere Pro. I mean, maybe this video was edited in Kden Live because, well, I still hate Adobe. But if you can't switch from Adobe, then you're probably gonna have to dual boot. There's no point in trying to emulate Windows or use Wine for professional Adobe use. It's just not worth the hassle. So, those are my takes on Linux Mint, Pop OS, and just generally distro hopping. Justin, do you have anything else to add?
I want to add some things first. Your GPU issue is easily explainable. Basically, when you do the GPU pass-through, you disable the GPU, dedicated GPU for the UOS. So, when you connect the second display is not wired to both your integrated graphics and your dedicated graphics, like you on your computer with MUX. It is wired through something called direct GPU. Basically, it's directly to the discrete GPU. So
Yeah.
when you disable the GPU for the OS, you disable that HDMI port.
Yeah. Cause I think when I set up GPU pass through, it displayed everything on the external GPU on the external monitor.
Maybe you also have a MUX switch with under the HDMI port, because usually on gaming laptops it's either a MUX switch, which is usually seen on more expensive gaming laptops, or it's a direct GPU connection, like mine
I'm
has.
pretty sure it's a Mux switch. Cause oh god.
Also, one more thing, all the apps you said that don't work that work on macOS, that's a common issue. All productivity apps like Notion, let's see, some Chrome web apps, some Parallels. Let me think.
But here's the thing
Microsoft
though.
Word,
Here.
Adobe, all of them have the same issue, and there's an explanation. Yeah, both of them might be based on Unix, but under the hood, they're a lot more different.
Yeah.
Unix, they're both spin-offs of Unix, but macOS is developed its own kernel called Darwin kernel, while Linux used Unix kernel into Linux. They might have some slight similarities, like having software that's made for both, like crossover, the app that lets you run Windows apps on Linux that's paid. That app also exists for macOS. You also have NeoFetch, same on macOS. You use sudo to use the root access, like on macOS as well. But under the table, they're a lot more different. Like, let's start with the APIs that they use. Linux uses Vulkan for most display-related tasks. macOS doesn't use Vulkan. For a fun fact, it doesn't even support it. It uses Metal as its API, which is Apple only. Linux uses what was using Linux using for apps?
OpenGL.
For apps it was using OpenGL. macOS is using Swift. They're different. They sound similar, but under the hood they're just completely different OSs. That's the reason that you can just port over the app from macOS to Linux. Even the way to install the app is different. On macOS, you have an app as a disk image, and just copy the app to the programs folder, and you're done. That's how you install an app on macOS. On Linux, you know as well. Use a software manager, use dep packages that automatically install the plugins and everything you need. That's also another difference. Yeah, they might be similar, but deeply under the hood, there's different stuff. Like Windows is a different thing from Linux. Windows is similar in some ways as well, but it uses NT. Also, I would say that based on your distro, fractional scaling might work, or desktop manager. For example, I heard that KDE Plasma works with desktop scaling, and you can install it on Mint as well. You might want to try that. Maybe it would work better. I would also say that in general, not every distro is perfect, but the good thing is that when you have a distro that has a feature that's good, like for example, GPU switching, that can be installed from one distro on another. So for example, you like the desktop manager of Linux Mint, Cinnamon. You can get on Ubuntu. If you like the desktop manager on Arch, you like Hyperland, you can get that on Linux Mint. You can get that on OpenSUSE. You can get that on Fedora. So if you choose this show and you like a feature from another, you can just download it. Nothing's stopping you. Like, a funny thing is that I use an app. I often use an app when I use Linux called KD Phone Connect. I don't know, but it's something along those lines. And it's an app made for KD Plasma, and I use that on GNOME and Cinnamon. Fun fact. Both apps are, both operating systems, all of them actually lately have become great, but Linux has become better compared to Windows lately. The things that they have done lately really show the firing of the quality in share Steam. Like, for example, putting too much bloat. Like, I told you that I have an i7 11th gen. I didn't tell you this, but a few days ago I was trying to reinstall Windows, and after I let everything to download, my CPU usage got to 100% on idle. I repeat, it was using 4.8 gigahertz on idle when nothing should be been happening. It's just crazy lately. Windows has become way too bloated, and that's why many people pray for the Linux tier desktop, because Linux has a huge issue that not many people understand. Basically, there's a dev user problem, like there was on Vision Pro. Devs don't develop the apps for Linux, so users don't have apps to work. And users don't want to switch because their apps don't work. It's a problem, because there are two options to this problem. Either the devs start doing the apps and they start, and Linux can become usable.
And therefore,
But
they have to spend way more money on developing to porting the app to Linux, because we know Linux is a huge open ecosystem and it's not something closed like Mac OS and Apple. Or the second one. So,
it's basic, yeah, you could say that, but Mac OS and Windows are more standard as for software, and it's not easy as taking your code and porting it over. Some lines of code can just need to be rewritten entirely to get them running across OSs. Like, if you want an example, my mom, a Java dev, recently she was using Java 8 until recently, and then they switched to a newer Java version. Just Java versions, not new thing, still on Windows, just Java versions. And because of that, we needed to rewrite a huge piece of code from the ground up. Like,
is, is this
get
guy
it?
gonna move? Okay.
He's gone now. Get it? Something that looks simple on the top of it, underneath it's like a huge iceberg.
Exactly.
And it's also chicken and the egg problem,
Yeah.
because it's a problem with the devs and the users. Thank God that Valve recently released Proton and Steam Deck, because that really got Linux to be more used.
And
The
here's
Linux
the
user
thing.
base.
You see, when you're a game dev, right, you primarily are used to developing for Windows. Um, when you have to spend all that money, all of that effort just to port it into Linux. You can either do that, or you can let Linux users use Proton instead. That's kind of the beauty of Proton, is that developers will have to spend a lot less money just to not port their apps to Linux, because Valve has already done most of the work. And applied to translate those system calls to Linux calls and to translate sort of DirectX into Vulkan.
Yes, that's a good point. But when you do this, usually that comes with a huge performance impact. Lately, it has gotten smaller, but still, most of the performance improvement you get is just Linux being more efficient at its base. That's why you have a huge performance boost. If Windows would become all of a sudden as efficient as Linux, you would get better performance on Windows. The difference you get in performance at the moment is from Linux being less bloated, and the performance impact might be even less based on what hardware you have. As better as the hardware gets, as little as the difference will become. Like, for example, you have an RTX 4090, for example. I'm exaggerating, but let's say that. Then your performance impact won't be high enough. You won't even notice. But if you have a GTX 1050, okay? An older GPU, 1060, you might see a huge performance uplift just because Linux is more efficient.
And I guess the sort of thing that I want to add is you might also still not receive the performance upgrade. Because I don't know if it's just me. Usually when I run this game on Windows, I get about 60, 70, 80 FPS. Now I get about 50. Now I don't know if that's because my settings or anything like that, but I usually run the same settings. So yes, there is a lot of room for improvement, and there is a lot of overhead in terms of translating those system calls and actually running them natively. But because Linux is such a small percentage of users, developers, they usually will just have to compromise and not develop on Linux. They will have to compromise on the user experience of Linux users. Because, again, the percentage of people, or the amount of people using Linux in their game is very little. It's very negligible. Most of your users will not complain about issues on Linux.
But they do. Actually, most people are annoyed that some games like Elden Ring are still not available on Linux. Or that, for example, some GTA 5 things don't run still. Linux is still at its beginnings, but it has gotten better, like I have said as well.
Yeah.
It's good, but there's room for improvement, and some software is still not well supported,
There's
like my Dell Latitude.
a lot of room for improvement. Because, well, yeah, you'd say there's a lot of people complaining, but that lot of people is still a minority.
Exactly.
I mean, according to Steam Hardware Survey, only about 2.9% of users use Linux.
That's an older estimate. At the moment, the most accurate source for info estimates that there are approximately 4%, 5% users of Linux at the moment.
That doesn't matter, but my point is, it's a small minority. The
It's a small
huge,
minority.
vast majority is still using Windows.
And then you have Mac.
That doesn't mean that people shouldn't develop for Linux. But that just means if you are a small indie developer, or you are not willing to spend a lot of extra money in developing your game, you shouldn't develop for Linux. I say that very lightly. I mean, yes, you should, but the thing is, porting your game to Linux really depends on sort of how your workflow works, how you port your game or how you develop your game. That's the point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah, the biggest issue still is that not a lot of users are using it. And just so you get a comparison, you know macOS, yeah? I said that Linux has 4.5% lately, yeah? macOS is now at 30% or 25% at least usage.
On Steam.
Not on Steam, in general.
Oh, well,
That's the
of
amount of
course.
users entirely using macOS. And the Linux user base has gone to an all-time low lately. It has gotten to, how much was it? 63%, which is huge. Like, just imagine that number for a second. It went from 90% to 63%.
Windows?
And many people realize that lately any OS works.
Well, are
Like
you
any
talking about
OS,
Windows? 90%?
90% was on Windows before. Now it's around 60, 70%, which is much lower.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's around
I have heard of
70,
that statistic
80%.
before.
Yeah, it's super low compared to before. Which means that Microsoft will be taking a hit and maybe, just maybe, they see this bad thing and maybe they start doing something well with Windows 12. Because I will just say one thing that will just make it even worse. We all complain with what Nintendo has done with the Switch 2, with breaking switches and not approving installed games anymore. But to be fair, these days you don't have a physical game for a long time. Like, when is the last time you had a physical game?
Never. Never had one.
Guess which was the last system that had physical games?
I
The
don't
Nintendo
know.
Switch.
The freaking Atari?
No, the Nintendo Switch. That was the last system that had physical games. Nintendo was the last one to hold it, and they left it as well. So in the end, Windows is still good. I won't say that, but it's still Microsoft is really messing things up lately, like badly. And to be honest, for the first time, even considering a Hackintosh compared to Windows, it's just crazy. And let's not begin on the hardware requirements. Like, let's see, blocking systems because they are not new enough, even though they support everything needed. Like, what's that? Like I said about my Latitude, it ran Windows so well. It was better than this Dell G15, and it was technically unsupported. Once I installed Windows 11, it thought it was supported. Like, my dude, if that doesn't show that the requirements are too high, I don't know what does. And that's because it's only one requirement that it missed. It doesn't have a model number that's not newer than Intel i5 7300U. If it was another code like i5 8000 XX 8000, I don't know what, it would have worked. Believe it or not. Are you getting it?
Yep. It's just ridiculous what Microsoft is doing nowadays.
Yeah, perfect hardware is now just needed to be thrown away because what?
I
They
mean, like,
don't want to lower it.
I don't know, man. Microsoft Windows is still like a huge part of their sort of business, but I'm starting to think like they don't really care too much about it. They care about AI and all that hype stuff. I mean,
I'll
of
just say
course,
one thing.
they're focusing on open AI.
They're focusing on their own AI. Haven't you seen what the latest Windows would be? Like from a few years ago, there was a leak of Windows 12 of what would it be mainly. Are you ready to hear?
What?
It's leaked to be a first Windows to have an AI requirement. So the OS would require an NPU. Or better said, if you don't have an Intel processor that was launched in 2025 or later, your hardware might be totally unsupported. And there's also some leaks of there being also another version called Windows 12 No AI that would leave you a huge watermark to get better hardware, just so you would have AI. Just think of that for a few seconds. And then I'll just say another thing. Let's then take macOS. I know it's not the best example out there, but let's take macOS. That OS, macOS Sonoma, that's the newest one, right? That one at the moment runs on an iMac from 2007. Okay, sure, with Open Legacy patcher. But still, that's not even hard. Or just copy a file and you're done. If Mac OS and Apple, the company that's known for not having great longevity, is starting to become better than Windows, I don't know what's a more bigger red flag. Like, I bet you that if macOS would launch a few days from now, let's say macOS Windows Laptop Edition, which will cut out some features, and it will cost like 200 euros. I bet you that many people will prefer that over Windows. I bet you.
I think
Yeah,
Windows is sort of Windows is sort of deviating from its original how you say original philosophy. Is everything's supposed to be backwards compatible, and old hardware is supposed to work.
yeah. But just think about it. Imagine Windows 11, Windows 12 launching, and you have an AMD Ryzen 5 7 5800H, 12800H not being supported. Just think of that. Not even the fact that your computers are not that old. Okay?
Yeah,
Just think of that for a few
it's
seconds.
just ridiculous, honestly, what Microsoft is doing.
I heard that idea a few days ago, and to be honest, if that actually happens, when Microsoft would do that, that would be the biggest bullet in the foot they would do this entire time. Like their biggest L, the biggest error they would do.
Honestly, you have some hot takes.
It's not a hot take. Most hardware these days is not Intel Core Ultra. It's not. It's under Intel 14th gen.
Yeah, true, true.
So if Microsoft launches Windows 12 and cuts all compatibility, I bet you that even Apple, if they would launch macOS, but just remove all Apple stuff or remove some features, that would be nice. I bet you that many people will prefer that. And I'm not even joking. in the slightest. Get it?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a hot take. It's just logic. If
Well, I
Apple
think we
just
should
launched,
end it here for now. It's like 2 a.m. for me.
yeah, good idea. Tell me how what time it is. I think it's I don't know what time it is.
But
It's
yeah,
10 p.m.
it was nice. I mean, nobody joined our stream, but hey, at least we got to talk about a lot of things.
Yeah, honestly, I just hate the way Microsoft is going lately. It's just garbage.
Dude, but great job, dude. I mean, you talked better than I was with a script, and you weren't even using a script at all. So, props on you.
Yeah, I used after 15 installs of Linux, I think I know something about it.
Yes. Oh, hello.
Oh,
Somebody
I
just joined. Go, go, go. What?
it's me.
What's going on? It's you?
Oh, no, it's not me. I'm not Mort.
I don't know Mert. I don't know who you are, but I'm just about to log off. So, thank you. I'm sorry, Mert. Hi. Hello. Yes, I'm sorry, Mert. But I am about to log off right
I
now.
I just typed a message as well.
Yeah. Oh well. Well, yeah. Props on you. I guess. It was really fun. I'm definitely gonna turn this into a YouTube video. I don't know what I'm when I'm gonna edit this. I'll probably around like maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow might be a good idea, so you can finish it. To be honest, I'm going to head off for a while until I finish with my exams, and then I can
Yep,
just be chill.
that's true. Well,
But seriously now, I think this summer my project will be Latitude, Latitude Mac OS edition.
you're gonna Hackintosh your latitude?
Yeah, you wanna know something funny?
What?
You know how garbage the Intel HD graphics is on Linux, right?
I
In
think
the
so.
Hackintosh community, that GPU is the best iGPU to Hackintosh your laptop.
Yeah, I mean, don't Macintoshes use that?
Hackintoshes use a lot of Apple components and Apple similar stuff.
Yeah,
My Latitude is the
and
Dell version of MacBook.
Intel iGPU is like the most Apple thing, you know.
Yeah, Intel iGPU or AMD GPU, one of the two. If it's not one, is the other. I swear to God. It's one of the two, but now there's one other option. You know it?
What?
Apple Silicon.
Dude, you know, I've
Uh,
been either wanting to get you know those like Snapdragon laptops?
I'll just say no.
Either that or I
Wanna
get
know
the
why?
M1.
Get the M1. I'll just say one thing. If you're planning to use that computer for everything, Snapdragon is not the way to go. Yeah, many reviewers say, oh, it's great, it's nice. But then they say one thing that just destroys it.
Software compatibility.
It is just this. It's great for when I'm on the go. I can do everything I want that's in a browser. I've tried running this app, but it was really slow or
I see.
uncompatible.
I
So
see.
basically, performance is super bad, like extremely bad, like to the point that I think even my Latitude would overbeat it, or my iPhone to make it even worse. An iPhone 13 would beat it.
Mm. Yeah, because I do a lot of video editing. I'm sure Apple Silicon is the best you can get for editing.
For video editing, that's chef's kiss.
Mm-hmm.
That's French cuisine.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I'll just say how so you realize how powerful Apple Silicon is. I have an Apple Silicon iPad. This iPad is more performant than an i7. It's more performant than an AMD Ryzen 7. It's the most powerful device in this house.
And it's a
And it's
fucking
an iPad.
iPad.
And it's an iPad.
Uh,
It's hilarious. It's an iPad, and
yeah.
even funnier. I think this is the cheapest. This is also the best display we have in the house. It's a LCD panel, which is basically the best panel we have in the house. The best L and Apple has the best LCDs. They are not OLEDs, like for real. We have the best LCDs. If you get a MacBook Air, I'll just guarantee you that will be your best display if you don't take refresh rate. Because yeah, the refresh rate is low, but the picture quality
I
is
mean, I'd
great.
probably edit at 60 FPS. So,
And if you edit videos, it will fly. And if you get a MacBook Pro, you'll have the greatest experience.
I mean, what's the difference
The
though between an Air and a Pro?
the Air has no fan, so it uses passive cooling, so it would overheat sometimes. The Air starts at 256 gigabytes of storage. The MacBook Pro starts at 512. The MacBook Air has less I/O, much less I/O. Wait, let me just search it up and compare, okay?
Yeah, I get the IO part. What if I used like a cooler or something? A Peltier cooler? I think it's. Is it still more worth it, the Pro?
I think it's not worth it a lot of the time compared to the Pro. The Pro will get you the best experience, but it will come at a price.
And I'm sure the
Basically, if
Air
you,
is lighter, right? Like you can bring it.
yeah, but the MacBook Pro is also light,
But it's not as light as
and
the
it's
Pro. I've seen the MacBook Pro. It's like a bit bulky.
ideal bulky, but I'll just say one thing. 24 hours of video playback,
Oh, I don't
24
know,
hours,
because I'm
a
planning to
full day
buy
of battery.
I'm planning to buy a second hand one. I mean, the battery's gonna be bad, obviously, because it's second hand.
Okay, but I'm just going to compare, okay? I'm using the Apple website just to use the latest version to compare because usually it keeps consistent. Let's see. If we go here, the MacBook Air gets up to 18 hours.
Hold on, can
It's
you
not
set
as
this to
good as
English?
the Pro. Yeah, I just
It's the
need to
below.
change it.
Okay, yeah, that yeah.
And no, I think that's will change it.
If you go down, there's a button for it.
United States that and change that to
Down, 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 down.
Canada English. Sure. Let's change it from Romanian to Canadian English. Good.
Full
And
screen this and zoom in, zoom in like a lot.
wait, let me just open the pages then. There.
Yeah, zoom in a lot, zoom in
So
a lot.
okay. This okay. So
Okay.
both have Apple Intelligence now. The price, this is Canadian. The MacBook Pro starts at more, but it gives you more. For example, you get the M4 chip here, but it has less GPU power and it's not cooled. This has more GPU power and it's cooled on top. Then we go on what displays it supports. The MacBook Air, if you close the lid, will support up to 2 displays. That's the max. It won't support more. If you don't, if you want more than 2 displays, you'll go automatically on the MacBook Pro. If you are a video editor, it will be better because you don't need the dongle, for example. Like if we look at I/O, wait, can I? Yes. Look at the I/O. What do you have there on
I
a Pro?
mean, a dongle wasn't that bad.
Yeah, but look, SD card slot, HDMI 2.1, Thunderbolt 4. We go on the other side. We have a make safe, two other Thunderbolt ports, and headphone jack.
Well, I mean, okay, to be honest, this is a decision that I will make in the future, so I think
Yeah, but to
that's enough.
compare, wait,
That's enough for today.
can
Yeah, I understand the
just to end it
difference.
quickly. Yeah, and you'll get, and if you go for the M4 Pro configuration, which is usually true, like if you go secondhand, if you go older than the M2, like M1 or M2, those will be M2 Pro, which will be more powerful than the MacBook Air equivalent in any way
Hold
possible.
on. I want to buy an M1, right? Like, how powerful is an M1 compared to, say, my laptop?
Oh wait, AMD. I know the Geekbench scores. Let me just compare. Geek 6. Okay. This is your okay. So this is your score. Okay.
Okay.
Your CPU has 7,212.
Okay.
Okay. Let's compare all of them. I have an Intel i7 11800H. Mine is equivalent to a MacBook. This is around what I get. There. This is the one. 8,000 points. Okay? 7,000, 8,000. Okay? Now search up on Geekbench. Wait, I'm not doing this. Okay, now I'll just search MacBook Air M1. Not M1. M1. This is the performance you'll expect.
Ooh. Wow. That is
Again,
a lot
this
better.
is yours. This is what I get. It's better overall. And then the MacBook just destroys both. And then, just to make complete joke, let me just put my iPad here. This is the correct one. An iPad.
God, I mean, install macOS on your iPad and you got a Mac.
That's what I said. It has 8 gigabytes like a Mac. It has. Wait, let me check how much storage mine has. Wait. If it has 256, it even has as much storage as the Mac. So it would make perfect sense. Wait.
Let me see. Can you even
It's 256.
install macOS on iPad? No, you cannot install macOS on an
You
iPad.
cannot. You cannot. But people are begging. People are begging for it. But still, just so you realize how much these processors can punch. This isn't a tablet that overheats. Imagine what this would be in a MacBook. Wait, let me just show you. MacBook Pro, MacBook Pro M2. Okay? This is what I'm considering. If I search here, this one. Okay? MacBook Pro 14-inch 2023 M2 Pro. Look at that. That's not even slight. You see the difference. It's ridiculous.
Oh my god.
Once
The new Mac Mini. Oh my god, the new Mac Mini.
We just had the new Mac Mini just so you can compare that as well.
Oh my god, the new
Mac
Mac
Mini
Mini.
M4.
It is not even a
This is the base model.
fucking comparison. It is not a comparison. Holy crap.
It's double yours and almost double as mine. It's half 50% faster than my iPad Air and faster than the MacBook Pro.
Yeah, I think the Mac Mini would be
And
a better
then
choice.
and then wait, MacBook Pro, M4 Pro, M4, M4 is the M4 Pro.
All right, I'm gonna head
We,
off.
we ain't, we ain't.
Oh my god, stop, dude. I
It's
literally
ridiculous.
need to head off, dude.
Okay, but it's not even a comparison at that point. It's just brutal bullying. Get it?
God.
Okay. Have a nice night.
See you.
Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye. I don't know how to say
Au
goodbye in Japanese.
revoir.
Bye
Buongiorno.
bye.